Hello guys, you're welcome back to my channel. To my old subscribers, thank you so much for watching my videos, and to my new viewers, I really do hope that by the end of this video you will click that subscribe button. So we'll be sewing this beautiful corset top, and initially we've drafted the pattern for this. I have a video for that, so I'm going to drop a link in the description box. So if you do not know how to draft this, you have to go check that link first to watch that before you move on with this. So let's move on with our tutorial. So here I have cut out my fabric, and I added half-inch allowance to the mid part as seen, and then all around my cut I added half-inch allowance, and for the length I added 1 inch. In the video for the draft we stopped at the half length, but I decided to extend it into a top for this, so that is why I have a top length for this. And all around my cup I added half-inch allowance and then 1 inch to the lower part including the back. So let's take our pattern to the sewing machine and start. We'll be starting with the midpoint for this, and you can see I've opened up the middle, so I'll be joining the two sides for this, so that will give us the body for our corset top. Guys, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and I have loads of other videos that you can check out too. Thank you so much. So one part is done. I'll be moving over to the other side now. So I'll be joining this other side so that we'll have our corset body. So all you need to do is to sew with half-inch allowance as we added to our fabric when we were cutting it out. So just join with half-inch allowance right from the top all the way to the lower part of the fabric. And then with that we have the body for our corset. Now you can see how beautiful that is opened up. Okay guys, so moving on, we will be joining our cup now, the cup part. Remember that when we drafted our pattern we indicated the upper part, and then we numbered the pattern. We labeled one 1 and we labeled the other one 2. The one labeled 2 is bigger than the one labeled 1, so you have to take note of these things. Take note of the upper part and take note of the labeled part as well. So I added a notch to the upper part just so I would know where I'm joining, and then at the midpoint I added notches too. So all I need to do is to make sure that the midpoint notches align, and then I'm going to be joining with half-inch allowance right from the top all the way to the lower part. You have to be careful with this part because your shape has to come out well. The shape determines how beautiful the corset is going to be at the end of the day. So all you need to do is to join with half-inch allowance right from the top all the way to the lower part. You can see how carefully I'm joining it, so you have to be very careful because your curve part has to be curved, you understand? So all that is done, so I'm going to quickly show you what that looks like. You see how beautiful and how well the shape came out. So very quickly I'll be doing that for the other side as well. I cut that out because I don't want the video to be too long. So exactly what I did for this part, I'm going to do it to the second cup too. Okay, now so this pattern is set now. You can see I've ironed it out, and everything I did for the fabric I also did for the lining. I joined this and I ironed it out. Now for my cup, the way I ironed it out is I used my bust arm to iron this out. I made this myself, so I have a video on how you can make this bust arm. It's very good for ironing out corsets and bustiers, so I'm going to drop the link in the description box. It is very easy to make. All you need are scrap pieces of fabric. So I laid it on my bust arm and I ironed it, so you can see that the shape came out really nicely. So this bust arm is very good. All right guys, so moving on now, this is the cup that I'll be using. So I'm going to be attaching my cup to my fabric, and the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to place the cup right on the bust arm, and then I have to glue my cup and my fabric together using the hemming gun. So I'm just going to go right ahead and cut out strips of hemming gum and place it all around the cup, and then I'll iron it out. I'm going to use a very hot iron so that the gum can melt into the fabric and the cup so they can stick together. So all I'm just doing is cutting strips of of hemming gum, and then I'm going to place my fabric right on it, and then I'll go ahead and iron it. So I'll do the same thing to the other side too, and then once that is done, I'll move over to my sewing machine. Guys, give this video a thumbs up and do not forget to subscribe to my channel. So it is time to join our cup to our bodies, and the things you have to take note of now is the notch at the upper part, and then for the joining you will notice that a side is bigger than the other. So the smaller part has to come towards the mid part, and then the bigger part has to go towards the armhole. Do not forget this, very important. And then the next thing to take note of is the line, the joining line. So you have to make sure that the joining lines for the cup and the bodies are aligned. So you can see me pinning both joinings now because I want them to stay in place. So I'm going to be running my stitch right from that midpoint to the upper part of the body, and then I'll go back to the midpoint and run a stitch to the upper part of the other side as well. So I'm starting from the midpoint, and very carefully you have to do this, and you can see that I'm making sure that my cup align with my fabric. So you have to arrange it very nicely, and then you make sure that you sew with 1/2 inch allowance. Okay guys, make sure you sew with 1/2 inch allowance. We do not want to tamper with our measurement. So you can see what I'm doing now, sewing very carefully. So I'm done with one part, so I'm going to start from that midpoint again, and I'll sew right to the other side. Now this part can be tricky because it is very easy for the fabric to fold into the stitch, so you have to make sure that you flatten it out and sew very carefully. And then you have to make sure that the cup underneath is picked. So all you need to do is to arrange the cup and the bodies, make sure they are together before you run your stitch on it, just as I'm doing. Guys, you have to be careful. So keep running your 1/2 inch stitch all around until you get to the upper part. Guys, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, kindly subscribe to my channel, and you can share my video, watch other videos that I have too. Thank you so much. So all I just do is to keep running my stitch until I get to the upper part. Now I have to do something very important after running this stitch, and that is I have to I have to make a notch all around my joining. This will help my cup to sit well, to sit very nicely, and when you iron it, it will come out beautiful. So just put notches all around your joining. So for that, I'm going to show you what my joining looks like real quick. You can see how beautiful that is. It's coming out really nicely because I'm going to iron it out right afterwards, and you can see that my lines align. The line for the cup and that of the bodies align. So everything I did for the other parts as well, so as not to bore you. So and then I did the same thing to my lining too. Okay guys, so now the next thing that I'm going to do is to turn my lower part very quickly. I'm doing this because I'm sewing a top. If I was sewing if I was stopping at the 1/2 length, you know, there's no need for this. So very quickly I ran my stitch on it, I gave it a nudge, and then I'll be top stitching on it to make it firm. Now before turning the upper part, this part is completely optional. You can run a top stitch all around your cup. It is not compulsory, it is very optional. It depends on you, but it sometimes beautifies it. So very quickly I'm going to stitch my back. I won't dwell too much on this because this video is for the corset top. So just know that all I did was join my back and my lining, and then I turned it. Okay, so I've turned the upper parts of this. You can see how beautiful this is coming out, and then I have done the same thing to the back. So what I'm going to do now is to place my front and the back together, and then I'll be taking my measurements. All done now, and my zipper fixed. You can see how beautiful this is. Yeah guys, very nice. So I'm going to beautify it just a little bit with some applique. So I'll be placing that right on the cup for both. So that's You can see how beautiful that is looking already. So I'll just go right ahead and stitch it in place. Okay guys, so this is the end of this is the result of our tutorial. If you like this video, kindly give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and watch other videos. If there's any other tutorial you would like to see, drop a comment and I will most definitely check them out. Thank you.